closer towards third. Schneider coming to the plate, and he's safe. And now
Look at the defense, 4 errors tonight. Just what happened with the defense?
Yeah, just not good enough. And, look.
Look at the defense, 4 errors tonight. Just
That one is driven into right center field. Long run for Straw. He turns, looks, and that ball is gone. A 2-run home run for Judge to tie the game at 4. A bullet to right center, just what the Yankees needed.
Yeah, man, huge home run by Aaron Judge. I just realized my mic was muted the whole time, and I guess nobody's in here to tell me. But yeah, look, the Yankees blew it last night. There's no way to sugarcoat it. They go down 8-4 to the Toronto Blue Jays, and probably the biggest series of the season thus far. Everything wrong with this team poked its ugly head out. 4 errors, easily could have been 6 or 7 errors when you really think about it. Boone gets ejected. Matt Blake was ejected. You got all 4 runs scored on home runs, which is another problem. I get it. We love the home runs, but my goodness, can we score some other way? We still don't have a third baseman. I don't know how much longer you could keep going and platooning Peraza and Vivas out there. Dominguez looks lost in left field. The guy's clueless out there. Like, you can't defend it no more. The defense out there in left field is a liability. You got Cody Bellinger losing the ball in the lights. I get it. It's going to happen. But my goodness, it happened at the worst time. Yeah, just this team. Look, this team is in free fall. The Yankees are in free fall. And is this rock bottom? Is this rock bottom? Like, I wish it was. I wish I could sit here and say, yeah, it is. But it could get a lot worse than this. Like, we're going up against the Phillies tomorrow, and this is the pitching matchup tomorrow for us. Me personally, I don't have a lot of confidence in Will Warren and his ability to stop this Phillies lineup. That's tough. The Phillies are good. The Phillies are a World Series contending team this year. But on the bright side, man, look, we got a trade deadline coming up, and maybe the Yankees could salvage the season. Now, it ain't going to be easy. I'm telling you right now, Cashman has to really, really dig in deep. I mean, if I was him and his team, I'd lock him in the office and say, nobody's leaving here until we fix this team. Throw in a pot of coffee and just get to work. Hal's going to have to eat a whole ton of money that I'm sure he doesn't want to do. But that's what's needed to salvage this season for this Yankees team. I also want to get into some comments that Cameron Maybin made about John Boy and his interview with Boone and everything. I felt like, you know what, let's watch it here, and then I'll give you my opinions on what he said. Pull this up.
The problem is that fandom that comes into play. And I love Boone's answers. And this is why I'm the biggest Boone advocate, because I play for the man. Fans can say what they want. They want to fire Boone. They want this or that. The players in the clubhouse love Aaron Boone. He said it. Everybody's different. The pinstripes, it's different. The expectation is different. You can say what you want. They're not the Yankees of old. They haven't won in so long. It doesn't matter. There's an expectation when you put on those pinstripes. Guys would have threw shit and been all upset and shown all emotions. Back in the day, guys would have pulled them to the side and say, hey, get your crap together, right? Like, lock in, get over it. Watching this, it let me know I need to be careful about going back and forth with fans in the future, because there's just some things that fans will never understand. And again, John Boy Media has done an excellent job. This is just a great example of fans not truly understanding what players, managers, people in the trenches have to go through.
All right. I mean, look, I understand his point and everything, but guess what? Respectfully, these guys get paid a lot of money, right? That's their job. They signed up for this. What they're going through, let me tell you something, man. I get it. There's a lot of pressure on these guys to perform, but join the club. So there's 8 billion people on this planet. Everybody's going through something. I promise you that. If you expect somebody to feel sorry for a bunch of millionaires, I mean, look, you signed up for this. That's part of the job description. All right. You're gonna have to deal with media. You got to deal with fans. This is you're in the public's eye, right? You're in the public's eye. And as far as trenches and all that stuff, look, I get it. We're not in there in the clubhouse. We don't really know everything that's going on, but we see what's happening on the field. And it doesn't matter what's going on in the clubhouse. The play on the field is terrible. It is terrible. What do you expect people to say? I get it. Like, I guess some fans, they might want to see more emotion from the players. I get it, right? Sometimes you're not gonna get that. It might be out of that player's character or whatever to do something like that. But look, boo freaking who, man? Boo freaking who? Ain't nobody. Look, if you expected somebody to feel sorry for any of these players or managers or anybody in there, it's not gonna happen. You know what I mean? And look, I get it, the grind of 162, but get this, man. Look, it's a real grind. The real grind is waking up every morning at 4 a.m. to go to work 365 days of the week. I mean, of the year. That's a grind, right? Everybody's going through the grind. Life is a grind. Life is a grind. What do you expect? It ain't all butterflies and freaking roses out here. You want to know what's pressure? I get it. They got a lot of pressure, but you know what's real pressure? Real pressure is not knowing how you're gonna pay your mortgage at the end of the month or how you're gonna pay your rent. So you can miss me with all that stuff, man. This is your job. This is your job. And if you don't like the job, look, ain't nobody's forcing you to do this, And like in Boone, I get it. We don't know what he goes through, but guess what? You're the manager of the New York Yankees. That comes in the job description. That's part of the job. And if you don't like it, look, me personally, I'm not gonna, you can step down. We won't miss you. Me personally, I'm not gonna miss you. If anything, a lot of people feel like you should be fired. A lot of people feel like you don't deserve the job. So that's just how I feel about it. And I get it. Cameron Maybin, he has a personal attachment to this guy because he played for him. So there has to be some kind of bias there, maybe, and because he's a player too, a former player. But if from a fan standpoint, and you're saying you got to be careful going back and forth with fans, look, I get it. There's a lot of crazies out there. But at the end of the day, look, we're looking at the performance on the field, and I get it. You're not going to win them all. It's impossible to win them all. Errors are going to be made. Mistakes are going to be made. We don't expect Boone to go out there and bash players to the media. But at some point, man, year after year, day after day, we watching the same thing over and over and over. And yesterday was just like, I feel like it's reached a climax that we're fed up with this. We're fed up with it, right? What would you do without the fans, though? If the fans stop showing up, then what? So, all Boone really has to say is to go out there and be like, look, I get it. We got to play better. I'm going to talk with the guys. We're going to, give me a solution. How about we start talking solutions instead of dancing around questions and just answering a question with the same thing they just asked him. They'd be like, well, what happened on that error by Volpe? And he's like, well, Volpe, he booted the ball, or he had a good ground ball there, but he just missed the throw. Yeah, we know that. We saw it. He missed the throw. But why? Like, what's going on? How are we going to fix this? That's all we want, solutions. All you got to say is, yeah, we're going to go back and we'll look at it and figure out, where to go from there. That's it. Instead of being all combative and stuff, when you're all combative and everything in an argument, and you start getting upset, right there, you're just looking like you lose the argument like that. What's up, Khadiza? Khadiza's in the building. Yeah, it's not a the defense in as a whole is just bad. It really is. You know, I feel like the veterans are playing really good defense though. Guys like Judge, Bellinger, Paul Goldschmidt. Who else we got in there? Grisham. These guys are playing good defense. It's the younger guys. And all the young guys on this team that we have right now. I'm talking about like Ben Rice, Anthony Volpe, Peraza, Vivas, Dominguez, Escara, Wells. All these guys are homegrown talents. They're all homegrown from the Yankees. I think John Boy talked about this last night too. Like, man, what is going on down there that we cannot develop talent to come up here and be ready? Like, none of these guys could play defense. All of these guys like have something terribly wrong with them. We're swinging for the fences. Every at bat, just swing as hard as you can and hope you make contact with something. It's just bad. It really is. Let's go ahead and play this one right quick.
And a little bouncer towards third. Schneider coming to the plate, and he's safe. And now Springer coming in behind him.
So what a clown show.
And a fly ball to right. Lost it. Bellinger can't find it. And Clement is coming to third. In and out of the glove of Rice. Wagner will reach and the run will score.
Just terrible. Terrible play by these guys. Absolutely terrible. Go ahead and see.
Look at the defense. 4 errors tonight. Just what happened with the defense?
Yeah, just not good enough. And you know, look, I think we have a very good defensive club, but clearly in the 7 games we've played up here, you know, not giving them extra outs, whether it's through error or not making a play that we need to make, you know, that's cost us in these 2 series up here where we really hurt. So we've got to obviously tighten it up. Confident we will. We'll continue to work at it. We have good defenders here, but tonight was obviously a rough night for us.
Why do you think we haven't seen it consistently with the defense over the last couple of weeks?
I think it's here, and I think it's in this building we haven't.
Oh, let me stop you there, Mr. Boone. It's not only in this building, all right? We've seen maybe the fielding errors, but we've seen so many mental lapses and poor fundamentals all year round, especially in the past 2 months. So it's not just this building. You can't say that. That's not factually true.
Played well. You know, the defense was good down in Atlanta. You know, again, we've had a couple players go through it a little bit, but overall, we should be moving forward a good defensive club. We need to be, but, you know, it's this series and the last series here where just too many outs given.
When you say here, is it something about this particular
I think
building?
it's just 2 bad series where we played here. So, you know, I don't know if it's just, you know, coming to the turf. Like, that's not really an excuse. Like,
It's not an
you know,
excuse.
same game. But obviously, I think in these 2 series, we've given them too many outs, and it's cost us.
Oh, yeah, it cost you big time. I swear, every extra out we gave them, they capitalized. They capitalized. And when you look at the Yankees compared to the Blue Jays, right? Like, we've seen them on the same field, obviously, this past series and the last series we played with them. They're just, look, they put the ball in play. They just do everything, it seems like, better than us. They capitalize on every mistake we've made. They're more athletic. They work counts. I mean, look, I hope this is rock bottom, right? I hope this is rock bottom, because when you hit rock bottom, there's only one way to go, and that's up, hopefully. But look, there's nothing telling me that this team could turn it around from here. And Boone could say everything. They're a great defensive team, and they're going to turn it around and everything. Man, we've heard all of that before. We've heard it before. We've heard it for 8 years straight now with them. I'll believe it when I see it. I will believe it when I see it. I truly personally believe that in order to salvage this season, right, to make this team a true contender, like you need to bring in, you can't just make like 1 or 2 trades. And we're talking like 3, 4 trades here. 3, 4 trades minimum, and you gotta hit on all of them. They all gotta be bangers, you know. Um, and it's just sad. You know, when the season started, I had a live stream and I was talking about how important these young guys on this team, right? The young talent on this team were going to be to the success if we were to have any success. And look, a lot of these guys, they just not ready, you know. I don't know if they ever be ready, but they're just not good. And it says something to the way we're developing players down there, because it feels like this has been like this for the past decade or so, where every prospect we have that comes up here, every so-called untradeable prospect has not really been that good. And I get it. Like, you know, I'm all for these young guys. I want to give these guys a chance to play, but I have seen nothing in this organization that gives me confidence that these guys are really that good. Any of them. Like, we got Spencer Jones down there raking right now. I'd love to see him up here. I'd love to see him up here right now at this point, because this team needs help. This team needs help. And I'm not saying that he's the answer. He's definitely not, but at least we'll know, you know, we can kind of gauge what we got with him, right? It's tough, man. This is a tough time to be a Yankees fan. We're the butt of every joke in baseball right now. It's crazy. Let me say what's up to the chat, because I see a lot of you popping in. Yankees for the win says, that right there is the gripe that I have about Boone. He doesn't take accountability. I agree with you. And look, here's the thing, right? Accountability doesn't mean, like, when you mention accountability, people are like, what you want him to do? To go rip a player in front of everybody, bench somebody, or whatever it is? No, there's plenty of ways to be accountable. You can also just be self-accountable, like, and just say, look, that was not good. And give me a solution. Like, look, these guys, today was a bad game. This was not good. We're going to talk about it. We're going to sit down, look at the film, whatever it is, and talk about this, and we're going to figure it out. And I'd be like, okay, you know, at least we're doing something. But not just, it was a bad game, but we're a good defensive team and we're going to turn around. Okay, but how? How are you going to do that? If you think that you just magically going to start playing better fundamentals or better defense, whatever it is, it doesn't work that way. There has to be some course of action. You know what I mean? Like, give me a course of action, something, so that we know, like, okay, they're on it. They know they've identified the problem, and they have a course of action to fix it. But they don't have none of that. A lot of times they can't even admit that there is a problem. Jay Riv says, good morning, brother. In my opinion, and to be honest, Boone dropped the ball last night. He was supposed to put Wells and Goldie in the game for defensive purposes once Judge tied the game. You're right. You know, he was supposed to put Goldie and Wells. But at least like, I get it. See, and that's the problem. It comes down to, like, roster construction. It's like, what do? You know? Because to do that, you got to take out freaking Ben Rice, and he had a big home run the game before. But you're right. You got to go with Goldie and Wells there. And look, I don't know. Judge should have never been DH, right? When he put Judge at DH, he kind of screwed the lineup. Because once you do that, you kind of start getting limited. Like, you have to leave Dominguez out there. But if Judge would have started at right field, and I get it, Judge needs a break too, whatever. But this is a big time series. We need the best guys out there playing. You know, Judge could get his break when we play Tampa Bay or something like that. But Judge should have been at right field instead of DH. And that would allow them for Bellinger to start at left field, or even move over to left field at some point. It's just I don't know. It's just tough. This team is just the way the team is constructed is not good, right? At no point can you have your best players on the field because you just can't. And then, man, these young kids, they're killing us. They're killing us right now. And I get it, they're young, they're gonna make mistakes. But we need them to step up right now. And half the line, I'm looking at the lineup right now. We talking Grisham, Bellinger, Judge, Rice, Jazz Chisholm, right? With the exception of Rice, that whole top right there is just all the veterans. And then as you go to the bottom, it's all the young guys. The guys with, most of them are rookies or maybe have 3 years and less in the league. What's up, D-Train? Theo says, same as another team that embarrassed us at the end of the last year. Yeah, it's the same thing. They got the scouting report. They got the scouting report on us, and you would think that this would be fixed. And look, a lot of people are like, oh, you guys are praising the Plan B. Remember earlier it was like, oh, Plan B is a great Plan B. Plan B is still really good. Plan B is Cody Bellinger, Paul Goldschmidt, Max Fried. They all worked out, right? For the most part. The biggest issue right now is, man, these guys can't play fundamental baseball. We're killing ourselves every game. Every game is the same thing over and over. And it may not be an error, but it might be just a base running mistake. It might be just, I don't know, misplaying a ball or a bad bullpen move. If it's not one thing, it's the other with this team. I'm telling you. Brandley says they're aggressive and constantly give you pressure. Yeah, and as they should. This is baseball. Like, this is Major League Baseball. All right? These guys are competing at a high level. All of them. All of these guys are big leaguers. I'd argue that some of these guys are not ready to be big leaguers, but that's another conversation. Like, what do you think? You're just going to roll in somewhere and these guys are just going to just lay down? No, only we do that, you know? Only we do that. Yeah, they put pressure, but in reality, when you think about it, even like yesterday's game that we won, right? 2 errors or whatever it was. Like, we're killing ourselves. We're killing ourselves. We have no approach at the plate. Just in the fundamentals, basic stuff. Yankees for the win says, just flat out say we are not playing good. We have a good group of guys who are not playing up to their potential. We need to get our head out of our butt and focus, and we'll do better. Yeah, definitely, man. Will Star says, at this point, I don't care if the Yankee Stadium janitor takes over as coach. For real, look, I think it's time. We got to move on from him. And I get it right now. Maybe not specifically right now. I don't think they do it, but I'm like, if I'm Hal, you got to be thinking about it right now. You got to be looking at, okay, if we do this, who are we going to put? How are we going to move? You know, who else are we going to bring in? But this team, in all reality, and I said this last night, in all reality, look, this team could definitely not make the play. We could be out of a playoff spot by the end of this week. You know, well, we got a tough lineup. I mean, a tough schedule ahead of us too. A tough schedule ahead of us. And I don't look when we talk about trades and all this stuff, man. I'm not even sure if they could fix this at this point. I'm not even sure. Because it would take trading a bunch of people. In order to really fix this for this year, to make a real legit push, you're going to have to trade and it's going to be a lot of young talent. And a lot of fans are not going to like that. Me personally, look, I'm done. Like, excuse me. This is why I have zero faith in all these prospects. I really do. We've been hearing this over and over and over. You know how many guys came up here who were supposed to be like the next guy, and they just bust. For some reason, this organization, we don't produce. many I'm gonna say like because we do produce talent, but most of these guys are just journeymen, just regular guys who's gonna have maybe a year or two in the big leagues, and that's about it. And you never hear from them again. With the exception of Aaron Judge, we haven't really had a complete stud come through our system, and that's telling because every other team has. And I get it. And people say, oh, well, the Yankees, they draft low because they're always contenders. We're not the only ones that draft low. Look at the Dodgers. Their system is a lot better than ours. So it's something that we're doing. Something that we're doing. It's like all this stuff, all of these fundamental mistakes and these errors and the little things. This is stuff that you're supposed to be figure all of that out in the minors, right? Those are the kinks that you need to work out at that level. And then when you get up here, you're supposed to be big league ready. And I'm sorry, like the mistakes that we've seen this year, they're unexcusable. It's just bad mistakes. And I get it, they're humans, but my goodness, it happens to this team way more often than any other team. I'm talking about forgetting counts, right? Forgetting how many outs in the game. So many just running and not sliding. Just misplaying balls, not being where you're supposed to be on the field. It's just so much fundamental flaws. And it feels like it's year after year, it's the same thing. D-Train says, in my opinion, no trade is going to fix the underlying issues with this team. We are fundamentally broken. We need a change in our philosophy and approach. We are talent without substance. Yeah, man. But a lot of these guys, like for instance, right? And I hate to keep bringing up Dominguez because I really don't want to keep picking on him. But Dominguez, for instance, right? So much talent, right? Great bat, great speed. The defense, though, is like some of the routes he takes to the ball and everything. I'm like he's almost unplayable. At that point, he's almost unplayable because he's too much of a liability out there. Just too much of a liability. And even if he does start out there, at some point you need to defensively replace him in a tight game. You just have to because he look, he doesn't look good out there. He just doesn't. And I've been saying this for a while now. If you guys listen to the show, you know I've been saying this for a while, and you know I've taken some backlash for it. I've taken some heat, and I understand why, because the Martian's a fan favorite, right? He's one of my favorites. I'm rooting for the guy, but he's just not ready to play out there. And you could tell me, well, he needs to be in center field. He's a center fielder. And I'm gonna tell you right now, based on what I've seen from him just in left field, that's not gonna is putting him in center field. If anything, is gonna make it even worse. He needs time to develop, and we can't afford to have him develop. Like, we can't give him on the job training, OJT. Not right now. Not when we're trying to win ball games. So I don't know what the Yankees are gonna do. They really have some tough decisions. They really do. One thing they can't do, they can't just sit and do nothing. They can't sit and just be like, okay, let's just, let's run it and see what happens. That's not gonna work either. So either you're all in, right, and you're gonna do whatever it takes and go crazy, or you're not, and you're just gonna start building for next year, and that means still making trades. Get rid of some salary maybe or something. Free up something so that way this offseason we have some hope for the season so we don't go through this again. Look, going into this season without a third baseman, like now when I think about it, really, that's just crazy. It's just crazy. Yep, Brandon Lee says, it's bad for a team if the opposing team is clowning you on Twitter. Yeah, I saw that. The Blue Jays Twitter account, man, they were clowning us. Clowning us. And, rightfully so. Right now, we're a joke. We're a joke. And I'm going to show you right now. Look what they said right here. Hold on. There's the blue. Oh, man, let me turn that off. Keep this. And like, here's some good defense. Just clowning us, man. Check this out. This is from the Toronto Blue Jays social media account. Sensing some anger in our replies lately, so just want to update you guys. We scored another 2 runs. They're just clowning Yankee fans, man. It's just sad, man. It's just after we got clowned by the Dodgers all off season, we had to hear that, right? What's crazy? That after Game 5 of the World Series, right? That 5th inning, you would think that the Yankees were just hell bent on freaking becoming the most fundamentally sound team ever. I mean, that's what they told us, that would never happen again. They would never let themselves be embarrassed like that again. And look, we're here, what, 6, 7 months later, 8 months later, and we're back in the same spot, getting clowned by the rest of the league. I had to go the whole off season hearing about this, and I'm thinking, we're going to be better. We're going to be tight. The defense is going to be tight this year and everything. And if anything, we're worse than last year. I would argue this team is worse than last year fundamentally. Like, how are we going backwards? We made it to the World Series last year. This year, we might not even make it to the postseason. Boy Wonder says Plan B was excellent. Yes, sir, it was. But the thing is that Plan B, they went halfway with it. They needed to do more. They really did. Look, I'm gonna be honest. Like, how, man, you're gonna have to call for some more money. It's simple as that, I feel like he's gonna have to call for some more money. And don't be mad at the fans, Don't be mad at anybody. Just be mad at yourself and be mad at Cashman. Because this is what we got. I'm not saying Howe is not cheap by any means, right? $300 million. That's, we still top 3 in terms of payroll. But in order to get this team where it needs to be, it's just gonna cost money, and it's gonna cost players. It's gonna cost talent. Jay Rivera says, we in deep doo-doo. We can't be going by matchups. We need to secure the game, and our bench sucks. We don't have any good options to go. Yeah. We had these issues last year, even with Soto. Yeah, but now we got him in all different kind of positions. All the other holes you have to blame Boone and Cashman. Man, that's enough blame to go around. There's blame to go around for the players too. They got to do better too. They definitely got to do better. Game 2 was a Bellinger miscatch in left field away from getting swept. Yeah, you're right. Man, that was a great play by Bellinger. That's why I'm like, look, it's crazy because if that's Dominguez out there, you think Dominguez makes that catch? I don't think so. Like, the Yankees, man, they got some tough choices. Me personally, I'm here, right? This is where I'm at. I feel like Dominguez is almost unplayable at this point. I don't care how good his bat is and speed and all that. He could be a pinch runner, a pinch hitter, but he just can't be out there on defense. He just can't. Ben Rice is the same thing. Even though Ben Rice is, he's had moments of looking really good at first. But it's clear that he's still learning the position. He don't really know what's going on. He's doing his best, right? He's just trying to stay on the field any means necessary. But he's to the point too, is like, how do you play this guy? That's why, to me, both of them guys, they're in line to be traded, right? Paul Goldschmidt has to be on the field all the time. He needs to be playing defense all the time. Judge has to be in right field all the time from here on out, right? I get it. They need days off. We ain't got time for days off. There's like, what, 60 games left or whatever it is. You'll get a day off when we freaking in first place by a couple games. Then we could take our foot off the gas. But for right now, Judge needs to be in right field every game. Cody Bellinger needs to be on the field every game. Trent Grisham needs to be in center field every game. Paul Goldschmidt needs to be on first base every single game. Wells needs to be the catcher almost every single game. Between him and JC Escara, and look, I'm not too high in either one of these guys, to be honest. Or let's get another catcher that can really, really throw runners out. Let's shut something down, right? Because we're barely getting any offensive production in the catcher position. So bring me a catcher that can at least gun people out on the bases. If not, what you're good for? I'm gonna pull up Austin Wells' stats right now. And if he was up, when you're batting 216, 14 home runs, 54 RBIs, 272 on base, look, we could get that from a catcher, not any catcher, but I'm sure we could bring somebody up from the minors who could hit just as bad as he is or Escara is, but has a freaking cannon, like a guy like Flores or whoever it is, right? At least let's do that, right? Let's shut down the base running against this team. And third base, look, they got to get a third baseman. At this point, I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's Brian Hayes. I don't care if it's Ryan McMahon. I don't care if it's freaking somebody from the minors. I don't care if it's Eugenio Suarez, whoever. Somebody who's going to give us something out of that position. Because right now, we're not getting defense out of third base, and we're not getting offense out of third base. It's just a black hole in this lineup, both on the defense side and the offensive side. So give me anybody, right? Anybody be all a freaking upgrade. Like Alejandro Kirk, man. That's what I'm saying. If you're a catcher and you're not hitting, oh man, you better be nice on defense. You better have a cannon, do something. You got to be blocking. You better be Pudge Rodriguez behind the plate. And then shortstop, same thing with shortstop. This dude ain't hitting. He ain't hitting, and he ain't playing defense. So give me somebody who at least could play defense. I don't care about the hitting. Put IKF for all I care out there. Even though Volpe had a home run yesterday. I remember when we had Torrey and Girardi, they would use the hell out of our bench for everything: pinch runner, pinch hitter, defensive replacement, etc., even long relief. Yeah, but this team doesn't even know who's a starter and who's a bench player. And when somebody's is not playing, for some reason, when a person's not playing on this team, they have the whole day off, apparently. For what reason? It beats me. Ain't no days off. Not at this point in the season. At this point in the season, a day off has to be earned, and it gets earned by winning. When you're in first place by a few games, or you have a comfortable lead, or whatever it is, then you can take a day off. All that punting stuff, all that stuff is out the window at this point. You can't afford to do it. Every game is so crucial right now for this team. Boy Wonder says you can only correct this during the off season. Yeah, but I don't want to give up on the season just yet, man. I still have hope. You never know. Look, this is baseball. I promise you, stranger things have happened in baseball. Worst teams have come back and just pulled off a miracle. Do I see this team doing it? Not really. But I'm gonna be optimistic that that they could fix at least some of the holes. They can fix some of the holes, and hopefully we get some kind of crazy production from somewhere else, and we make it right. Will Star says sell, sell, sell. Pressure or not, a lot of the misplays are routine. Yep, some of the misplays are plays, and these players should be able to do it in their sleep. No, you're right, and that's why like the whole Cameron Maybin thing. Like, look, I get it. These guys have a lot of pressure, but join the freaking club. Everybody got pressure. That's why I say, what's real pressure? Real pressure is going to work every freaking single day, and you still don't know how you're gonna pay your rent at the end of the month, right? That's pressure. When you're about to get kicked out on the street. Like, look, there's 8 billion people in this world. Everybody's going through something, right? Don't come at me like we don't know what these guys go through. These guys are millionaires, right? All of them. Well, maybe not all of them, but for the most part, all of them. So don't expect me to feel any sympathy when you're not performing. It's not like we're bashing people for no reason, and we're not really bashing. We're just saying, look, you got to play better. You got to do better, right? That's our job as a fan. What are we supposed to do? Just sit there like robots? We're supposed to go to games. This is what I don't expect, because people are like, oh, you can't boo players. So we're supposed to just sit at a game, especially a game like yesterday, watching this team do all these errors and everything, and just sit there and do nothing, just be okay with it. All right, of course not. If we lose the series to the Phillies or get swept, our season is done. Because if other teams keep winning and we're not going to dig ourselves out of this hole quick enough, a different sport, but look at the Lakers. So old and retired. I'm old, but I'm not retired. I'm getting there, though. One day. If not, it's crazy, old and retired. I was talking to my son about this recently. I was like, you know what, man? I've accepted the fact that I may just work my entire life, till I'm dead, but I'm okay with it. Fixing this team starts with getting rid of Cashman. Yeah, I'm with you. I am with you, but unfortunately, I don't see them doing that. I see Boone possibly getting fired. I can see that. Cashman, he's gonna have to step down or just retire. He's been there too long. They won't just fire him. They just won't. Bro, as a Blue Jays fan, even I was like, what is this team doing? Half of the time when my Jays hit the ball, there's supposed to be players there, but the players aren't. Oh, man. Honestly, we should sell like we discussed last night. Don't give up Spencer. Don't give up Cam or George Lombard Jr. For some summer rental that will help, but not enough for us to win at all. We should sell. Man, you're not wrong. You're not wrong, but I don't want to give up hope, man. Is that, dude? I come here every single day and stream, and I talk about this team. What if they just sold? And it's like, okay, we know we're not doing anything this year. It's like, why even? I mean, I would still watch the games, but man, baseball's so much better when you have something to root for. When you have something to root for, it's so much better. That's why I feel bad for fan bases that their team they're not even trying to win. There really isn't. There's nothing to root for. Maybe just rooting for individual players. And at that point, if the Yankees were to sell, Yankees for the win, if the Yankees was to be like, you know what, we're gonna sell. I mean, they would never do that. But let's say they do. Then why even play Judge? Why risk getting Judge hurt or anything like that? Why play Stanton with his two elbows, or why even put out Max Fried out there and risk an injury or something? You see what I'm saying? Like, at that point, it's like all these guys that's going to be key players next year. Why play them? You know, just sit them down and just bring up a whole bunch of random people to come play up here, if that's the case. And that's an option, I guess. I don't see them doing that, though. Now, I feel you. His natural position is center field. We know that Yankees for the win, but the way he plays left, I don't think putting him in center is going to help him. The way he's running to the ball, the routes he's taking and stuff is really bad. Like, I would like them. The Yankees should do that. Just put him in center field and see what happens, right? But I have a feeling that it's even worse at center. I have a feeling that it's even worse in center field. He's not a good defender at all. He doesn't make the routine ones he makes. If they hit it right at him, he's gonna get it. But if he got to run for this ball, like to the gap or something, I don't know. He's shaky out there. Why make the playoffs and get embarrassed on the national stage? Because at least you made the playoffs, and once you ended, anything can happen, you know? And you never know, right? So maybe the playoffs is weird like that, right? Because a good team, right? The team that you're afraid of, they could get bounced out by another team. And all of a sudden you have a better path to get there. Or you can have somebody go off like a Giancarlo Stanton or something. I don't know. I want to see the Yankees play in October, right? I don't want to be sitting here in October covering another team. I want to cover my team. In all fairness, Dominguez is playing out of position. Yeah. You're right. I mean, I guess, but I'll be honest with you. I don't think he's going to do better at center field. Dude, he looks bad out there, guys. That I'm telling you, it's not because he's center, right, or whatever. I've been watching baseball long enough to know that the way he's running to these balls, putting him in center is not going to fix that. You know, you understand what I'm saying? That's not going to fix that. I get it. In left field, the ball tails a little different and all of that. But guess what? In center field, you got to read him coming from both sides. I truly think that he needs work. He needs time, maybe, because right now we can't afford it, you know. But he needs to be out there more getting reps, and we can't afford to have him getting reps, learning on the job. He might need to be sent down so he could work at that or something. Look, that's my opinion, man. Like, you can't really. He's almost unplayable. The defense is bad, guys. It's bad. But we haven't given him 2 weeks at the beginning of the season in center field. We screwed with the lineup. Now, I feel you. Look, I'm all for it. Right now, we can't afford to be playing with stuff like that. And me personally, my take is, just from watching him in left, I don't think that he's going to do any better in center, right? Just from watching it, and I get it, he's not used to it. That's fine. Hold on, let me open the door for my dog. But if anything, I think he may be even worse in center. Stephen B says, been listening while I was driving. Here are a few thoughts. Sell off some rentals, get some controllable players, and in the offseason, trade Volpe. This has been a injured barking season. I mean, that's one route. And if that's the case, you know, at that point, you're basically just giving up on the season. We all know Cashman is going to take Hal's money and do some dumb moves in the offseason again. I hope not. Older Retired says, there is no hope as long as Cashman remains. All their problems on this team within the organization can be traced back to Cashman, his decisions and philosophy for building the team. Remember, Boone said we have so many people to play. That's a good problem. But he forgot the key word, a problem. A problem is still a problem. Yep. You hit it right on the nose, man. Money won't fix the issue. Philosophy has to change the mindset. Intangible money won't solve anything. No, I understand you, dude. I'm 100% with you. But let's be honest, right? They're not gonna fire all these people right now. They're just not gonna happen. I'm talking about if you want to save this season right now, you're gonna have to open the checkbook, and you're gonna have to trade, make some big time trades. If you really, really want to be a serious contender, that's what it's gonna take. The philosophy and all that, I get it. That needs to change, but that stuff like that, man, that doesn't happen overnight. That's gonna take, it could be an off season, 1 year to the next, or it could take years for something like that to change. Because there's a lot of people in this organization. They already bought into this culture. They already bought into this philosophy. And you got to start weeding that out little by little out of everybody. And it's spread. It's all through the organization. It starts from the minors all the way up to Hal's office. Like, how do you can't fire everybody either, obviously. You need to get somebody in there who could really make some change. And right now I'm thinking short term, right? That's a long-term goal. Short-term goal, if they would fire these guys and try to bring something, okay, all right, but still we need to change some players on the field. If they fired Boone today and fired Cashman today, right now, if it was announced right now, Cashman, breaking news, Cashman and Aaron Boone fired. Okay, that doesn't change none on the field. Maybe you get another manager in there and he's gonna, and maybe they play a little bit better. But still, the problems are still there. That's not gonna make Dominguez run better routes to the ball. That's not gonna make Peraza hit better than 130 or 140 or whatever he's hitting. It's gonna take more than that. That's all I'm saying. But you're right though. This dude said Dominguez is playable if you play him at first. That bat is good. Oh my God, dude. And then he'll be way out of position. They gave Judge the DH to get his feet off the turf. You know what, man? Remember yesterday too, Judge, he had that moment in the outfield where it looked like he kind of hurt his foot or something. Like you could see him kind of wincing in pain a little bit. Maybe that could be true, but right now, I don't know. Unless he's hurt or something, I don't think they didn't. That's not what they told us. It's pretty much like just trying to get him off his feet a little bit, trying to give him a rest. And I'm all for it, but man, yesterday was a big game. Dude, we can't do that on these big games. We came into this series with Cody Bellinger on the bench. We can't do that in these big series. Like, I'm all for time off, but right now ain't time to be off. We need our best in there if we expect to win. Wells is still the best framer. That's why he's there. JC needs to be traded. Man, I feel like Wells framed all of us. He framed us. We thought he was going to be freaking the next guy, the next big catcher for the New York Yankees. Look, framing is overrated, in my opinion. Framing is just overrated. I get it. You might steal a strike here and there. Next year, that won't even matter, right? With the ABS system. It won't even matter. I mean, it will still kind of matter, but not really. It's not going to be as important. Framing is good, right? But that's, for me personally, that is not even the top 3 things I look for when I'm looking at a catcher. It's not even in the top, probably not even in the top 5 things I'm looking for. I'm looking for an arm. I'm looking for, can you block balls, baseballs? right? I'm looking for, can you hit? And then maybe, and also I'm looking for, how do you call a game? Are you smart enough to call a game? And then framing pitches, you know? So it's probably the fifth thing that I look for in a catcher. Because if your pitcher's throwing strikes, you ain't really got a frame. Righty bat for third base. Man, I just need a third baseman. I don't care if that he could bat on his head. Give me a third baseman. I don't care if this guy bats backwards. I don't just give me a third baseman, please. Luis Duran was good, brother. What's up, everybody? Just like the Mets, the Yankees need more. Yeah, but the Mets are tied for first right now, I believe. At least. My goodness. This is the standings right now. Let me pull it up. We're 4 games back. The Mets are a half game up in first. A half game up. Let me tell you something. We're about to have a 3-game set versus the Phillies at Yankee Stadium. If you think that they're gonna punt anything or not play their best out there, you're mistaken. They're a half game out from first place. They're in a dogfight themselves with the Mets. So they're gonna be in there freaking scrapping with us. It's gonna be interesting. Interesting to say the least. Blaze 455 was good. Yankee source, Yankee starters in July. Starters in July, the ERA 5.63. Whoa, why is that light going crazy? 5.63 ERA. Yankees relievers in July 6.16. When it's time to blame Matt Blake. I mean, but look who Matt Blake really got out there, man. I mean, I guess you could put some blame on him. Look, but the Yankees got a lot of problems. We need a starter. We need some bullpen arms. We need a third baseman. Older retired. Jason, you can't expect the GM who broke this franchise to be the one who can fix it. He has done nothing without players. No, I feel you. Look, I think you guys have me misunderstood, right? I'm on your side. I'm hoping he could fix it. Do I expect him to do it? Of course not. Why would I expect that? Has he done it any other time at the trade deadline? Has he made any other moves, any other trade deadline moves that we were like, wow, oh, thank you? No. But I gotta have hope, dude. If not, then it's over, bro. It's over. You know what I mean? I'm hoping that he can fix it. I'm hoping that he can go. It's a tall task, though. I'm hoping that they could turn it around. Do I expect them to? No. They haven't showed me anything that tells me that they're really gonna go all in and do all that. And I understand you might be new to the channel, but if you watch me every day, you'll know that every day I say, their definition of all in is different than what our definition of all in is. Just look, I get it. You know, Jack Curry put out that they haven't really had any real talks about Suarez, and that Suarez, you know, his defense is a liability, and it doesn't really it doesn't make, like, his offense doesn't make up for the defense. You know, what you get from the offense, you lose in defense, or something like that. I'm paraphrasing. That's what Jack Curry put out. Jack Curry putting that out, saying something like that, tells me that that's like the Yankees trying to tell everybody, like, don't get your hopes up. You know, they're not really going to go for that guy. Because they probably see that the fan base is already, you know, kind of everybody's calling for him to come to the Yankees. And they probably know that they can't land him, or they're not going to give up the prospects to get him, or they don't want him. Whatever the case may be, that tells me that the likelihood of the Yankees getting him is very low. So at that point, then who do you get, right? Like, and I don't even care, to be honest. I like the dude's bat, but just give me a third baseman. At this point, anything is an upgrade. Anything is an upgrade. Let's start there. Let's just try to upgrade all these positions that we need. Let's upgrade the bullpen. Let's upgrade third base. Let's upgrade the rotation. We're going to get Luis Hill coming back, right? Hopefully he can be an upgrade, but we need one more, right? I don't trust Warren. Will Warren, to me, he's not ready. He gets killed in every big game, every big situation that he's faced this year. When he goes to pitch, he's crumbled completely in every big game he's had this year. I don't trust him. And I get it. Look, the likelihood of all this happening is very low. But if you told me, like, you cannot say mathematically, right? You cannot say that it's 100%, it's over for this team. They're cooked. 100%. No, right? There's still hope in there. It's not much. It's not much. But there's still a little bit. There's still some hope. We got to do like the Washington Nationals did like 2 weeks ago, fire the manager and fire the GM and move on and improve, because this ain't it. That era is gone. What is going on with my light over here? Hold on. That thing was going crazy. Build a new era of Yankees ball. Yo, J. Riv, man, a new era when next year? And like, you talking about a rebuild, my guy, man, respectfully, we ain't got time to wait. We got to get Judge a ring. All right, we got to win. I hear everything everyone is saying, and you're all right, right? Two true, like there could be two truths, right? But it's like, look, y'all want to sell and rebuild and try to do a rebuild and everything. Look, what's the time frame? Next 3 years, 2 years, next year? Like, what are we looking at? Because this dude, man, number 99 back there, he ain't gonna be Superman forever. Like, at some point, he's gonna start regressing. Jared says, I'll be looking at Dominguez's face and he looks lost out there. No wonder his nickname is The Martian. Oh, man. I saw the dark days of 1965 to 75, 82 to 95, and neither streak felt hopeless like this stretch. Man, that's tough. That's tough. I don't know. I remember like the early 90s Yankees, and I never expected them to win. Obviously, I was young at the time, but come on, Big Sarge. The Yanks can't get enough pieces to cover all the needs and put them over the top. Sell Escara, Grisham, Goldie, acquire the best pieces you can for lower prospects, and pray for a run. Yeah, I mean, they could do that. That's one option. Pray for a run. Or they can just try to get better. Look, either way they do it, they got to make a decision soon on what they're going to do. They can't just leave it as it is. That's what I'm saying. They can't just say, okay, you know what? We're just going to leave this team and we're going to see how far this team can take it. No, you got to choose. Either you're all in or you're not, and you're going to build for next year, you know? Making the playoffs even as a wild card will only mask the problems. It will give this organization a false sense of security. Look, guys, I hear everything. You guys don't want to win? Like, let me ask you that. Seriously. Do you guys don't want to win? You're okay with sacrificing this season and just moving on to the, just tear it all down and we'll try again next year. Like, if that's what you want, that's okay too, because that's an option. But is that what you really want? We're in July. Just saying, man. Remember Ramirez? We traded for a fashion second baseman. I don't like Jazz. Ramirez stats above average. Damn, need something to drink. Yeah, can they use that command clone to clone Judge? Me personally, I'm gonna be honest. Like, I hear what you guys are all saying, and you're right. I don't want that to happen, man. I want the in my mind, right? I know that it's bad, and I know that this team. Look, the likelihood of this team winning a championship this year is very, very, very low, right? But there still is a chance, you know. What they got to do to get there, man, is probably unachievable. Like, honestly, it's probably unachievable. It really is. I don't think Cashman can pull it off. And even if he tries, I think other teams are gonna swoop in and probably steal players, or you just sell. Look, I'm not totally against selling. I just feel like we still got a couple more days to make that decision. Let's see. I'm hoping for the best. Katie Herring, appreciate you. She says, Jason, first time subscribing to your channel. I appreciate you so much. Who in the chat agrees with me on this? Oh, let me see. Let me scroll up. In my opinion, I think the Yankees absolutely need a better manager. Oh, yeah. I think at this point, even the people that defend Boone, they've stepped away from it. It's like he's on his own at this point. Boone is on an island, and it ain't Love Island. He's by himself right now. The losing streak has to end sooner rather than later. Yesterday's game was an absolute mess for the Yankees. I'm hoping that yesterday was rock bottom, but you know what? When you're free falling, you never know what's rock bottom. I don't. It could get worse. Like, it could get really worse. And look, this series, the next 3 games versus the Phillies, and even the Tampa Bay after that, right? Coming up to the deadline here, I think, look, we might have our answer by then. This team might not even be in a playoff spot, in a wild card spot by the end of this. Well, not this week, by the end of next week. And then right there at that point, you know, it's time to, you know, probably sell. Because there's too many holes. It's not like 2 trades or 2 players are going to come in and change this team. It's too many holes. But we're not there just yet. But we're very close. Yeah, I agree. They should have built around him. I think they were trying, but they did it wrong. We want to win, but when us fans start seeing a little winning streak, they find a way to mess it up and kill the vibe. Yeah. Even I wasn't, look, I know some of y'all are new to the channel, but even when we won those 5 games or whatever it was before the All-Star break, I was like, yeah, we won, but the same problems, you know? We just happened to score 15 runs. Of course, when you score 10 runs, you're probably going to win. But when you win in 10, you still gave up 8 or whatever it is. Like, even when they were winning, there was problems, but we were just quick to overlook it because we were winning. Itchy nuts, man. Every time I look at your name, dude. Yankees payroll has Cashman kind of handcuffed. Howe is not going to want to pay 100% luxury tax on every dollar. They got to get creative. I think look, at this point, even if Howe opens the checkbook, he would have to open it ridiculously. They got to get creative, and Howe's going to have to spend more money. And both have to happen, right? If not, then, you know, they could just say, hey, we're just going to run it the way it is and hope for the best. That would be crazy. That if you want to see a fan base really, really upset, just do that. And we've been there before. That's why I said, look, I get that. Look, for Cashman to pull something off, for him to change the whole makeup of this team, he's gonna have to make serious trades, right? Serious acquisitions, and they all got to be good ones, right? They all got to hit. They all got to work out. But do I expect him to do that, or do I think he would do that? I don't. Like, to answer somebody's thing, they say, how can you expect Cashman to do that? I don't expect him to do it. I'm just saying that's what he needs to do. But I don't expect it from him because we've never seen that before. We've been here before, folks. We've been at the trade deadline and we're like, we need this, and we're waiting, and as that clock ticks, and as that deadline clock winds out, we're like, what? What's the trade? No trade? Oh, Kenyon Middleton, last second trade. I'm like, who the hell is that? Like, we got freaking, you know what I mean? I'm just bringing up a point that I don't expect him to do it, but I'm hoping that he does. I feel like he knows his days are numbered. He's probably thinking about retirement at this point, I would imagine, after doing this for so long. And he probably wants to get a ring. But it ain't going to happen with this team. Not the way they are right now. And they don't like losing 1 or 2 games. They go on losing streaks and act like it's okay. Other teams lose, but they find a way to win games. It doesn't matter how you win. It's a win. A win is a win. No, you're right. It doesn't. But even in a win, you can see something that is like, okay, that those mistakes right there, they're going to come back and bite us in the ass eventually. Look at last year. We made it all the way to the World Series, but we knew the team was fundamentally flawed. If you watch them every day, like I watch them, you already knew, like, okay, yeah, you know, they don't run the bases well. They don't do a lot of these things well. And eventually it will come back to haunt you. The ball never lies, right? That's how baseball is. Baseball is one of those sports, right? Like they say, is if you're scared of the ball is going to find you. If you put somebody out of position for whatever reason, if you put somebody out of position, it's like the ball keeps finding them every time. If you got a hitter who's slumping, who can't hit, like he'll come up in the biggest situation. That's just how baseball is. It's odd like that. But folks, I appreciate you all joining me. I'm gonna wrap this up here in a second. How long we been on? Oh yeah, it's been a hot minute. I gotta go on with my day. I got some errands to run. Let me get Daniel Pena's chatting here since I've never seen him before. If you're new to the channel, appreciate you, brother. And if you're not, please sub, like, do all that good stuff. I keep seeing the Spencer Jones highlights, but I have yet to see a defensive highlight of him. I've watched some defensive stuff. He looks decent, you know. He looks good out there. He got speed and everything. But you're right. I haven't been able to really, really see anything. He seems like a tall giraffe to me. Like his legs feel like they don't move. Like, I don't know. Sometimes, and it's all right because some big people, when they move, sometimes it seems awkward. But he does have speed. There's no denying the speed. I don't know. You got to get with somebody who's really, really follows them and watches the games like that. But I have seen some defensive highlights. But highlights are highlights. Highlights are only going to show you the best, you know. You got to really watch these players day to day to see. So you can find a highlight reel on anybody. Even the worst players in the league, you'll find a highlight reel on them. But folks, I'm going to play this ad, and then we'll come back and wrap this thing up real quick.
Bullpen meatballs. Serving them up all 2025 season.
Generating excuse. He's an elite shortstop, just a few errors away from a gold glove.
Seriously?
You better like the video, and while you're at it, subscribe to my friend Jason's channel.
The reason your butt has been hurting is because you have YDS, Yankees Derangement Syndrome.
Hey y'all, don't forget, channel members can bring up live player stats.
Yeah, J-Riv says, guys sub and get these guys 10K. I appreciate that, J-Riv. D-Train, good event in Jason session. Have a great day. It's crazy because I went into this morning and I was like, I'm going to talk about all this stuff and try to be positive. It's hard to be positive, though, with this team. Yankees and Toronto both have 52 errors, and Yankees trail them by 4 games. Yeah, but a lot of our errors have come in the last 2 months. The Red Sox, who trailed the Yankees by 2 games, lead baseball with 82 errors. This team got a lot of problems. They got a lot of problems. You know, Olden retired makes a good point, and you're right. It might have to be done in the offseason. And even then, I don't feel like it could be done. I'm just trying to I just want this team to have a chance this year. I don't want to wait till next year. Man, I might not even be here next year. Who knows? But anyway, folks, that's gonna do it for me. I appreciate you all for joining. Make sure you like, subscribe, do all that stuff. That's gonna do it for me. Peace. Everybody have a blessed day. I'll see you guys tonight. I'm gonna come on tonight.